Good morning. Welcome to the Aegis Interaktif and Business Mobility Asia COVID-19 update. Number, I have no idea how many we've done now. It's the 24th of January 2022, and I'm coming to you today from the most magnificent place in this region called Bali, where my wife and I have been fortunate enough to come and have a break, our first holiday since COVID started. We were actually traveling through the United States and in Hawaii when the World Health Organization declaration was made two years ago. So, we've spent the last 2 years not doing much in the way of traveling, if at all. So how are things here in Bali? Well, pretty bad, to be honest. We didn't really know what to expect. We have a lot of friends who live down here and work down here. We kept hearing from them and Facebook, etc. But arriving here was quite an experience. We picked up a car at the airport and drove through town to the villa we're staying at over in Pantai Sese, past Canggu, if you know Bali. And we were kind of surprised at how quiet the place was. And closer we got to the villas, the busiest things seemed to be. So, well, maybe people just kind of busy in the middle of the day, not really out and about. Second morning we got up and we thought, well, let's go downtown, go to a mall we like to go to pick up some bits and pieces, go to the Matahari department store, my wife's favourite store in Indonesia, and our favourite lunch place next door to that in Kuta Square. So shock horror, we get to our mall, the Discovery Mall, and there are about 4 shops open in a four-story mall. And first time was the car park, almost nothing there. So we walked in, walked out, drove around, thought we'll go to Matahari, shut. In fact, we managed to get a park in the main street of Kuta Square. If you know Kuta, you know that's impossible, right? We parked right out the front of Matahari and thought, well, let's go and have lunch. Fortunately, our favourite restaurant, Dulang, if you know it, was open. And for the hour we were there, we were the only customers. Again, their food was absolutely magnificent. Service was fantastic. And the Balinese, as always, have such a wonderful attitude that it wasn't necessarily they were grateful they were there. They were just being themselves and very happy to serve us and be very pleasant and polite in that typical Balinese style, which is what makes this place so attractive. After that, we drove around to Beach Walk. Again, if you know Beach Walk on the main beachfront there, that was relatively busy, predominantly domestic tourists. Talking to people there, we gathered the majority were from Jakarta and Surabaya, and talking to people around the island, it seems as though almost all the inbound tourism to Bali has been from those two, or the first and second largest cities in Indonesia. And in fact, we met a lot of people from Surabaya that we found out that we kind of knew through someone else. We also then had a good look around. Our estimate is that in that central part of Kuta Legian area, which is kind of like the hotspot for tourism and tourist retail, 70 to 80% of retail was just closed. Looked like it would never open again. We went and visited a friend down here at her place, got some insights from her about things that are going on, and she confirmed some of she has her villa in Legian actually, so we're right in the hot spot. Yesterday we drove up to Ubud, something we always like to do, and normally on a Sunday that would take about 2 to 2.5 hours, the last hour of which is spent sitting in Monkey Forest Drive, trying to get to the market area where the good bargains and the nice eating places are. We got from the villa to Monkey Forest Drive in 28 minutes, which was unheard of. Pretty much nothing was open. A few small local eateries, a couple of 2- and 3-star hotels or guest houses. We found a new Starbucks third wave style, which is very nice. We decided to sit there and get our heads around it. And then there was nothing to do. We just drove back down the mountain, caught up with friends at a beach club. So again, I'll repeat, Seminyak and Canggu are really buzzing. I mean, we also understood a lot of the long-term expats who were living up in Ubud moved down to Seminyak and Canggu because they just couldn't get any supplies up on the mountain. The supermarket, if it was open, was not carrying things that people would actually want to buy and eat or could. And so they all moved down here. Rents are relatively cheap. Holiday villas are being rented out on a 6 to 12 month basis. And there are indeed a lot of long-term expats, digital nomads, and other. If you come to Bali, you know the people I'm talking about who are around. So the beach club was buzzing. We hung out there until after sunset, and sitting there, it was probably half full. So again, on a Sunday night, you would not have been able to get in. And not only were we able to walk in, but we got a prime location where we could watch the beautiful sunset before we packed up and came back to the villa. So that's a quick update on Bali. I would say my impression of Bali is that the government here is doing a very good job. People are very proud to have been vaccinated. Getting in and out of the shopping malls and other places, you have to QR code in. Because I had my vaccines in Singapore, it doesn't register on the app here, so I have to carry my passport, my vaccination certificate with me. And in most places, security were very good at insisting on seeing not only the vaccination certificate, but my passport to show that that was me. And so I was pleased about it. Of course, no one wants to be hindered, but I was pleased that they actually were able to do that. High level of compliance with mask wearing, not on the beach, obviously, as people walking around the beach. You may hear the dogs barking in the background there on the beach, which is quite close to where we are. Again, if you know Bali, you know it's a dog's paradise as well as a people's paradise. So aside from Bali, what else are we looking at? So travel around Southeast Asia is still quite complicated. It is possible to travel into most countries, but that changes very quickly, particularly as Omicron came on board. Cambodia seems to be about the only country that is open for you to enter as a tourist. No visa on arrival, you've got to apply in advance and make sure you're vaccinated, etc., etc. Indonesia, it is possible to come here. There is a visa available. From memory, it's called a 221. So there's no visa on arrival, no online. You have to make an application with a local sponsor. Business visas and the AP business card that I travel on are all accepted. But right now, 7 days mandatory quarantine for everybody, citizen, permanent resident, traveller, doesn't matter, 7-day quarantine that you pay for with quite regular testing during that period. Travelling out of Singapore is pretty much only for people who lived in Singapore. Coming back to Singapore as a non-citizen or PR, you still need to apply for permission. If you fly on a VTL, vaccination travel lane flight, then you're not guaranteed. But last I saw, 5,000 places per day are available on VTL flights, and you can even come in from India for some time now. Malaysia, less easy. Thailand is on again, off again. So please, if you're thinking of going to Thailand, you can go as a tourist. It is not always easy, and you may find yourself there and not able to go back to where you came from. What else is happening here? Vietnam is still no go. Very limited opportunity to travel to Vietnam. Laos is still off limits. What else we got around here? The Maldives is probably one of the easier places to get to. But you've got to make sure that if you are going in or out of the Maldives, that you transit straight through to the resorts, if that's where you're going to, because if you spend any time in Malay at all, you have to do quarantine before you can go to the resorts. That's how they've kept the COVID-19 away from the resorts in the Maldives. So for now, we're getting ready to go back to Jakarta this afternoon. We've had 5 wonderful days here in Bali, and I feel incredibly privileged to be able to come down here when I know how difficult economically and psychologically the last 2 years have been for a lot of people who haven't been able to travel, haven't been able to go anywhere. So I'm thankful that there is a way to do that with vaccines and testing and getting correct visas, etc. And planning. It takes quite a bit of planning. We landed at the airport the other day. We'd forgotten to do something on an app, and that again only delayed us for 30 minutes. Staff are wonderful, but make sure you know what the rules are before you travel. From a work point of view, we've been still very busy. 2021, as I said in the last video update, was our busiest year yet. 2022 was started off very strongly. We can see from our own activity how quickly the economies in Europe and the United States in particular are recovering. So to my friends and colleagues and clients in the Northern Hemisphere, thank you. We appreciate the work, and we'll go the extra mile for you, of course, as we always do. So that is it from Bali. And next update I'll probably do from Jakarta before I go back to Singapore in a couple of weeks' time. see how things are. So in the meantime, I know Omicron is, people are really hopeful this is the last variant there's going to be. We said that about Delta. And the truth is we cannot know. We just can't know whether Omicron is going to be the last variant. If I was a betting man, I'd say it won't be. There will be another one. Whether it's better or worse, we won't know till it gets here. So follow the science, use common sense, get vaccinated, get your boosters, wear a mask, and stay home as much as you can. So thanks again. Look forward to seeing you all next time.